NFL season is officially over. No, no, no. We're just getting started. It is now officially the off season. Congrats to the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, Andy Reid, all them boys out there. Chiefs are unbelievable. Patrick Mahomes is unbelievable. Steve Spagnuolo needs more credit than he's even getting right now, and he's getting a lot of credit. So he had that defense ready all throughout the playoffs, all year even. He is one of the best defensive coordinators I've ever seen in big game situations. And I watched two of his against Brady when he was with the Giants. I cannot believe we ever let that guy go. That is for another day. We have a post Super Bowl mock draft now. Super Bowl is now behind us, even though it was literally yesterday. What a game that was, by the way. Just you can't ask for a better Super Bowl. OT, walk-off win, like what else do you want? Obviously, it sucks for the 49ers. That's who I was rooting for. That's my dad's team, but there was definitely some things they could have done different, or deferring the ball possibly and having the chance to walk it off yourself instead of letting Patrick Mahomes march down the field and do whatever he wants and control the ball, control the time. Obviously that's hindsight. Maybe he thought defense was just out on the field for 2 minutes, but it was only 2 minutes. Maybe they're tired, but it is what it is. Shanahan did not lose them that game. I think there was a lot of other factors from a player standpoint that needs to be more talked about when you talk about the Niners and how they quote unquote lost the game, even though Patrick Mahomes just did what Patrick Mahomes does to win the game. Like I said, it is what it is now. It's all over. Congrats to the Chiefs. Congrats to Chiefs fans. You will be picking 32nd, where every team wants to be picking at the end of every single year, because that's how you know your team did pretty well. And by pretty well, I mean they got a ring. So let's get into this one. Obviously, we've got the Chicago Bears here at pick number 1. And it's just looking more and more like it's going to be Caleb Williams, and that's where I'm going. It sounds like Justin Fields is probably going to be traded. It sounded like for a second round pick is what they would be asking for. And to get up to the number 1 spot, it also has been reported that it would take a generational haul, like trade package, to get up to that number 1 spot. So that means they think very, very highly of someone, whether that is Caleb Williams, whether that is Drake May, Marvin Harrison, even Jaden Daniels, maybe. Maybe they think really highly of him, and they do not want to give up that pick because they're like, hey, this guy is our future. We can turn over the quarterback contract, get rid of Fields, who only has 2 years left on his deal if you extend him to the 5th year. Williams, May, Harrison, Daniels, all those guys would have 5 years with that rookie 5th year extension. So, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense, too. It really does. This dude has been talked about as a generational talent since he was a freshman at Oklahoma, and he lived up to it as well. Maybe he didn't win a natty, but the talent is all there. The IQ, the instincts, like everything is there for Caleb Williams as he goes number 1 to the Bears. Pick number 2 for the Washington Commanders. I'm going to go Drake May, quarterback 2 for me. And I think the door, or not the door, but the gap between him and Jaden Daniels is closer than people think, but maybe not that close. Like, obviously, yes, you could go Jaden Daniels at 2 if you really think he's that much, like, his playmaking ability with his legs is that much bigger of a factor for you compared to Drake May. But Drake May's still got some wheels on him. Let's not get anything wrong here. He's got wheels. He's got mobility. He isn't the athlete of Jaden Daniels, but no other quarterback comes even close to the athlete that Jaden Daniels is. So Drake May's got superb arm talent. He's got really high football IQ. He's definitely more of like a power runner, and he's got to like kind of take a step back on that. He likes to put his shoulder down, but he's also really effective in the QB sneaks. I think he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns on QB sneaks this year, so something to look out for. Maybe a little tush push action with Drake May up there in Washington. We'll see. We'll also see if he's even going to the Commanders in what would that be? April, end of April. So as we go to pick number 3, this will be Jaden Daniels wherever he's at. I just think quarterback again. Patriots are in the market for it. Same situation as the Bears. Mac Jones going into his 4th year. Not really looking like the guy. However, that offense is also horrible. No quarterback would have succeeded in that offense, whether you look at the weapons, the line, the scheme, the play calling. It was all horrible. I'm not going to put a ton of blame on Mac Jones for that, but he's also just nowhere near the playmaker that Jaden Daniels is. He's way better as a prospect, as a player, in my opinion. It was the Browns got Van Pelt. That's the new OC, I believe, for the Patriots. And then was it Ben McAdoo that joined the staff as well? Former Giants OC and head coach, I think, and Packers quarterback coach with Aaron Rodgers. So they should have a much better scheme and much better play calling next year, I'd have to imagine, which will help out Jaden Daniels, he is a 5th-year senior, so he will be a little bit older than both Williams and May. So that does make a difference in him going here at 3, also compared to Drake May, where people are flip-flopping. He's got insane arm talent, we all know. The legs as well. A little bit more development as a passer, and he could be like instant top 10 quarterback in the league. So as we get to pick number 4, it falls perfectly for the Arizona Cardinals. Like literally how they want it to fall is 3 quarterbacks go ahead of him. They get to take maybe the number 1 player in the draft on some people's boards at number 4. You get Kyler Murray, a playmaker. I believe Hollywood Brown is a free agent. Obviously, you lost DeAndre Hopkins last year. Rondale Moore is a slot / like utility player, I guess, gadgety. And you also have, Greg Dortch, who's basically just a returner at this point, even though he has shown some receiving ability. Marvin Harrison would be an absolute game changer for Kyler Murray. And Trey McBride, the tight end out of Colorado State a couple years ago, showed immense upside this year. He was flashing all over the field at the end of the season. They were really getting him involved in the offense. I think he had like 6+ catches in each of the last 4 games or something like that. It was crazy. He was getting the ball at a very high rate, and as he should. He's a really good tight end, and I think people kind of forgot about him, but showed it last year. You add Marvin Harrison to that with James Conner in the backfield, Rondale Moore in the slot. Maybe you keep Hollywood Brown. I don't know yet. You do have Michael Wilson as well. Maybe they're just like, no, let's just go with youth, not waste too much on a wide receiver contract right now, and have Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, and Rondale Moore out there, which isn't a bad receiving core because Marvin Harrison's going to draw a ton of attention. Michael Wilson's still a stud. Rondale Moore is still really good. And then Trey McBride underneath as a safety blanket from that tight end spot. Again, falls perfectly for the Cardinals. Pick number 5, Jim Harbaugh, the new head coach for the Los Angeles Chargers. And I don't think I've made a mock draft with him as a new head coach yet, so should be interesting. I am going to go Brock Bowers here. I think with Harbaugh being the head coach and especially Greg Roman being the OC and him not really utilizing receivers as well as he kind of just doesn't really believe in the receiver position, it feels like. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's looked back and been like, okay, maybe I could have been a little bit better here. Maybe they go a Malik Neighbors, a Romo Dunze instead of Bowers. But with Harbaugh at the helm, I easily am just looking like, how can they get better run blocking while still utilizing their skill position players? And I think this is the perfect way to do it with Brock Bowers. You saw the last time that he was in the NFL how he used Vernon Davis and basically made him an all-pro. And then I think Vernon Davis went to like Washington and did basically nothing. Harbaugh knows how to use his tight ends. Obviously, Roman knows how to use his tight ends as well. Mark Andrews had career year after career year under him. I think this is a perfect fit. It gets Herbert a weapon. It gets Herbert a little bit of pass blocking. He can chip, but it gets the team overall some run blocking and versatility. Pick number 6 for the New York Giants. My man, Rome Odunze. Giants fans are probably going to be mad at me saying, no, it's Malik Neighbors. Come on, Malik Neighbors is so much better. And I don't think he is so much better. I think Rome Odunze is actually better than Malik Neighbors. However, it's kind of like 1A, 1B with these two. Like, do you want Malik Neighbors, who has the elite after the catch after the catch ability, or do you want Rome Odunze the route runner, the contested catch guy, prototypical size with also the speed. Which one do you want? Because I don't think it's really going to matter at the end of the day. They're both going to be difference makers on the field. Malik Neighbors is also, he is insane in his own right. I'm not saying he's not good. So don't get that like twisted. These are both very, very good players. There's a reason people are like, no, go Malik Neighbors, no, go Rome Odunze. They're both elite playmakers. I just think Rome Odunze's game is more translatable. That's all I'm going to say. Rome Odunze here for the Giants. We need a playmaker on the outside that'll then free up Wan'Dale Robinson, Darren Waller, Jalen Hyatt, and Rome Odunze will walk into the building and be wide receiver 1. No doubt in my mind. Pick number 7, the Tennessee Titans. It's just too easy. Just get Will Levis blocking, please, for the love of God. Like, this man needs all the help in the world. And you get it here with Joe Alt. Most people's tackle 1 by now. I think that's a fair assumption. Still very close for me between him and Olu Fashanu. I think Joe Alt's just going to fit the Titans scheme a little bit better than Fashanu. With it's Brian Callahan, right, from the Bengals, who's the new head coach. I mean, if you were wanting Olu Fashanu here, I have no problem with that, but I'm just going to give them a tackle and move on because they need run blocking and they need pass blocking, and Joe Alt's going to give you both. Pick number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. This is always just a really weird spot for me because I don't know, maybe a quarterback like Jaden Daniels falls here, or maybe they reach, quote-unquote, reach for one like a Bo Nix or a JJ McCarthy. Are they going to end up trading for Justin Fields? I don't know. So I'm going to go Raheem Morris, new head coach, defensive-minded. He is going to look at this team and be like, we need to get pressure on the quarterback. How are we going to do that? And Leatu Latu is going to be the answer. His pressure rate and his pass rush win rate were so good this past year. He was a complete difference maker on that UCLA defense. He made the Murphy brothers look like studs because they had so much attention to where 15 was at all times. The kid is special as long as the neck checks out. I know you've heard that 100 times from everyone else as well. If the neck checks out, he is going to be, I would say, a top 12 pick. Because I could definitely see a Dallas Turner or Jared Verse going over him, and then maybe he falls a little bit. But Leatu Latu is special, man. The speed and the bend off the edge is incredible. But yeah, Leatu Latu helps this defense a ton. I don't know how much longer Calais Campbell's going to play, or you have Grady Jarrett on contract for. And then it's really just Arnold Ebiketie and Lorenzo Carter. So get some more edge help. You got to put pressure on the quarterback in this league. So Leatu Latu helps that. Pick number 9. And how about this for the Chicago Bears? Malik Neighbors just chilling here. So you're going to now have DJ Moore, Malik Neighbors, and Darnell Mooney with Khalil Herbert in the backfield and Roschon Johnson. That's some weapons to work with. Your O-line is decent. You'll probably have to upgrade later in the draft along with free agency. And then that defense was really coming along later in the season last year. So Bears looking pretty solid here. The Panthers pick from last year, trading back definitely was the right move for them. And it works out about as good as you'd like it to. Because putting Malik Neighbors next to DJ Moore, who are you going to cover on that team? DJ Moore is a veteran, crafty, like elite route runner. And then you bring in Malik Neighbors, who's also a good route runner in his own right, with the run after the catch ability I was talking about earlier. The things that you could do with that offense, any offensive coordinator would dream about. Pick number 10. This also makes too much sense. Olu Fashanu to the Jets. Protect Aaron Rodgers. Protect that Achilles. But you also gotta block for Breece Hall, man. Breece Hall will be an All-Pro if they can block for him. He will go for 1,500 yards if they can block for him. Aaron Rodgers maybe won't win an MVP if they can block for him, but he'll get you to the playoffs. That's for sure. And in a loaded division where Miami has Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, and then you go up to Buffalo, Von Miller, Ed Oliver, Leonard Floyd, you got to block, man. And I mean, even the Patriots, you got Judon out there with Uche. You got to block in this division. Olu Fashanu helps you do that. Give Aaron Rodgers time and a lot of protection. Assumingly, he'll be on the right side with, or no, he might be on the left because Becton his contract is up. So that'll be a very interesting situation to watch. Obviously, Vera Tucker, their top lineman, went down this year. They need O line help wherever they can get it, and it starts here with Olu Fashanu. Pick number 11, Minnesota Vikings. This one's also tricky because you could definitely say go quarterback, even though I think Kirk Cousins will probably be back. The defense is still very, very weak wherever you look. Obviously, you could lose Danielle Hunter and Marcus Davenport this year. So I think the best thing to do would be getting edge help. Dallas Turner's sitting here. Some people's edge one. He's my edge two. He can play the run. He can get pressure on the quarterback. That's all you're looking for. And I think Brian Flores could do some special things with that kid. I mean, if you want to go Terrion Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Nate Wiggins, Cooper DeJean, or if you want to go quarterback, I could see all of those things happening for the Vikings. But 11 will be a really interesting spot, along with pick number 12. Really, these next like 4 picks are going to be really interesting on draft night. And for the Broncos, I think they are looking for a quarterback. And here I am going to go Bo Nix. He had, you could call it an up and down Senior Bowl. In the game, he didn't play, incredible. Day 1 and 2 were a little bit iffy. He was struggling. Day 3, he was on it. He really, I think, finally settled down, dialed in. He knew what, the coordinators were asking him to do, and he did it well. Day 3 was really, really good. It solidified Bo Nix, I think. Anywhere from about 11 down, I think. I don't think he'll be in the top 10. He would take a really, really fantastic, combine and pro day to get him up into the top 10. And maybe 8 or 6 with the Falcons or the Giants, maybe. But I don't see it. I think he's going to go past pick 10, and then it'll be a complete shit show to see where he goes after that. So I have him going here at 12. He'll be in the Sean Payton offense. I think Sean Payton would love to have an athlete like Bo Nix in his offense, as well as legs that he brings with him. He has a ton of mobility. I mean, the dude had 50 total touchdowns this year in college, and I feel like it just went completely overlooked. He was so good. He has developed as a quarterback and a person over the last couple years at Oregon, so I think that is more than worth taking a shot on. Bo Nix here at 12. To the Broncos, and at pick 13, the Raiders are like, are you serious? That was our guy, because if I didn't have the Broncos going there, I probably would take him with this Raiders pick. But since that didn't happen, I am going to go Talise Fuaga, or Talise, however you say it, Fuaga, out of Oregon State. Just a mauler in the run game. This dude will run you over and then put you 6 feet under as he runs on top of you. Great size, great athleticism, loves to hit people. He's a finisher. He's mean. That's the type of guys the NFL really likes. And he showed it at the Senior Bowl. He actually showed some really good pass pro reps as well when he was down there in Mobile, which I think was the big question with him, because we all know he's a great run blocker. If you re-sign Josh Jacobs, he's going to have a fantastic year, and he's going to be loving life. He's going to be buying this dude golf carts and shit by the end of the year, because he's like, hey, that's my dog up there. He just throws people around in the run game. It's so fun to watch. Talise Fuaga here at 13, again, makes a lot of sense. Pick number 14, the New Orleans Saints. Dude, it's so tough, these picks, man. I told you it's going to be a shit show in here. I am going to stick with my original pick of Jared Verse. This D-line needs help. They need to get younger. Cam Jordan is getting anything but younger. They got Brian Brzee, who had a really good and overlooked rookie year, I thought. They have Curtis Granderson, who his contract might be up, actually. They don't really have that bona fide edge guy. They've had Cam Jordan for a while. Trey Hendrickson obviously left to the Bengals, and he's been a stud over there. So I think they need that high-end edge defender that can pressure the quarterback. Jared Verse also developed as a run defender this year and was really good at that over at Florida State. And I just think putting him there takes a lot of pressure off of guys like Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, Alontae Taylor, and their safeties, because Jared Verse is going to put pressure on really damn quick. Easy pick for me. I almost went in a different direction. But on to pick number 15 for the Indianapolis Colts. And this is where cornerback 1 is going to go. And cornerback 1, for me, has been Kool-Aid McKinstry for a while. And it might still be. I still got to do some film because it's close between like 4 or 5 of these guys. I did end up going Nate Wiggins here out of Clemson. I was watching some sleeper draft film on a guy on Clemson, so be on the lookout for that later this week. A guy that kept popping off the screen is number 2 out for Clemson. I'm like, Nate Wiggins, he's pretty good, man. He's pretty damn good. It just reminded me how good he was. He's been kind of shoved down the board a little bit. With Quinion Mitchell obviously having an insane Senior Bowl, with Terrion Arnold having an insane season. And I'm just sitting here like, Nate Wiggins is 6'2", taller than every single one of these guys. All 6'1" or below, which 6'1" is, I mean, it's not much of a difference, but like, he's the tallest. He probably has the most length as well. His wingspan is huge. Maybe he doesn't have the ball skills, but he has the motor. Like, I was watching who was it, Boston College? I think it was Clemson versus Boston College. And Nate Wiggins ran this man down from the opposite side of the field and caused a fumble right at the 1, which might have ended up being a touchdown anyways. But the hustle on that play shows a lot. Like, some guys will just give up, be like, oh, he's gone. I'll jog after him, look like I gave an effort, but I really didn't. So, and obviously he's got all the ball skills as well. Like, it's just, the dude is absurd. He's prototypical size. I don't know. Cornerback 1 is a hard thing to judge right now. It's really going to come down to what do you want. For me, it's Nate Wiggins here. I think he fits the defensive scheme of the Colts really well, but I think you could say that about Cooper DeJean or either of the Alabama guys as well, even Quinion Mitchell. Like, I don't know, man, but I think a corner goes here, or maybe a receiver for the Colts. This time I went Nate Wiggins, though, because I think I've gone receiver a couple times. Pick number 16 for the Seattle Seahawks. I am going to go Jerzon Newton. I know Byron Murphy is a high riser. He's picking up a lot of, like, stock here recently. Which, fair enough. The dude is insane. I just think that the Seahawks are really missing pass rush from the inside, and that's why I think they tried to address it with Leonard Williams, and that didn't really pan out. I think Newton, though, super talented. He had the most pressures, I believe, from the interior the past 2 years out of any player in college football. And he gets double teamed constantly. I think the difference between me putting Byron Murphy at 1 compared to Jerzon Newton or Johnny Newton is the fact that Jerzon Newton was the only big-time player on that Illinois defensive line. When you look at Byron Murphy, yes, his athleticism is absurd. Top of the class athleticism. The burst, explosiveness, everything about Byron Murphy, yes. Jerzon Newton also has some pretty solid traits to him, as well as he was getting double-teamed and maybe even triple-teamed at times, and he had no other help across the D-line outside of maybe 1 or 2 guys. Byron Murphy had, Tavondre Sweat, who took up 2 guys regardless because of how huge of a man that dude is. So, yes, I love Byron Murphy, but I also love Jerzon Newton, and I think he'll translate a lot quicker and make a bigger impact more immediately. So, and I think that might be what the Seahawks are looking for as well, because he can also stop the run at a high rate, and he can get pressure on the quarterback from the inside. And I think you really need that in the NFL these days with all the mobile quarterbacks. Pick number 17, Jacksonville Jaguars. Here goes another corner, and it's going to be Terrion Arnold here. Originally, I had Quinion Mitchell, but it was just corner. That's all it was. I think Terrion Arnold might actually fit a little bit better since you already have Tyson Campbell on the outside and Darius Williams as well. And Williams and Arnold can flip-flop within, like, slot to outside. So I think that brings a good amount of versatility to the defense, a little bit of, not uncertainty, but disguise. That would be the word I would use. You can disguise a little bit better. Obviously, Arnold has fantastic ball skills. The dude basically looks like a wide receiver sometimes. Like, I think he had 5 interceptions this year, so super good prospect. Again, trying to put his name up into CB1. It's in the conversation for sure. I'm just not sure where to go with CB1, so he goes here at 17 as the second corner off the board. Pick number 18, his Alabama teammate, is going to go here at 18, J.C. Latham. Maybe some Bagels fans want a receiver here. You need to protect Joe Burrow. Why did you not get to the playoffs? Oh, yeah, because he had pressure in his face and broke his hand. Protect Joe Burrow first, get playmakers second. This receiving class is so unbelievably deep. You do not need to take a receiver here when you have a talent like J.C. Latham that can play on either side of the line, and it gives you finally some youth at that position that Joe Burrow hasn't had since he's been here. So I think it's an easy pick. J.C. Latham here. He's 6'6", great athleticism, great hands. Like, that's all I need to say. Pick number 19 though for the LA Rams. This is going to be 3 Alabama players back to back to back. This time, Kool-Aid, McKinstry. That secondary needs a ton of help. So does a lot of other pieces along that defense. But I think McKinstry getting that cornerback 1 helps you a ton. Putting Ahkello Witherspoon back to like cornerback 2, where he's way more efficient, and then maybe try to find some more depth in the latter half of the draft for the Rams, who finally have picks again in the NFL draft. So good for you guys not going and trading for everyone. Pick number 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it is going to be a corner, but I don't think I'm going to go Cooper DeJean. It's going to be Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. Again, I've said it before. He was on my Senior Bowl risers. The dude was outstanding in Mobile last week. It was genuinely one of the most impressive Senior Bowl performances I've seen in my lifetime. I've only been watching the Senior Bowl for the past 5 years, but I think the only man that beat him was Roman Wilson, who also had one of the best receiving performances at the Senior Bowl you'll ever see. So take it for what you will. Roman Wilson's also 5'10" and twitchy as hell. Quinyon Mitchell's got his own set of elite traits. He's 6'1". He's he can run like a 4.4. He's got great ball skills. I think he had 4 interceptions in one game or 3 interceptions in one game as a junior last year. So the kid's special. He should go in the first round. He will go in the first round, and he goes at pick 20 here to the Steelers. Pick number 21. This one is just making a lot more sense. The further and further down the line we go, Jackson Powers Johnson. The Dolphins they need a center, first of all, but they need interior O-line help. And he was by far the best interior O-lineman at the Senior Bowl. He was the best center in all of college football, in my opinion, last year. I think he's worth taking here at 21 if you're the Dolphins. He loves to run block. He loves to run guys over. He looked really good in pass pro at the Senior Bowl, so it makes too much sense to me. Pick number 22, Philadelphia Eagles, and this one is finally going to be where Cooper DeJean goes. So 5 corners here in the first 22 picks, and really 5 in the last, 8 picks? So it's a crazy, crazy corner class. The top half of it is so talented, and then it drops off a little bit, but then there's some good depth in it as well. So there's going to be a lot of quarters taken in this draft along with receivers, so it's going to be absurd. But Cooper DeJean is exactly what the Eagles need, in my opinion. They need someone who can play in the slot. He can do that. They need someone who can play outside. He can do that. If you want him to play safety, he can do that. If you want him to play punt return, oh yeah, he can also do that. The kid is a special athlete. He's a white corner in the first round. First time ever, right? I don't know, but it's kind of funny. But he is crazy athletic and super explosive, so I think he'll blow up the combine. Be on the lookout for that. Pick number 23, the Houston Texans. This is where Byron Murphy is going to go for me. They have Will Anderson and Jonathan Grenard on the edges. I think getting Byron Murphy just makes too much sense. Put him in the middle, the pass rush up the middle with Anderson coming around the edge, Jonathan Grenard coming around the edge, like D'Amico Ryans. I'm not going to say that. He would be very, very excited to have those three up front. He would be reminding him of his Niner days. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Obviously, you could have gone receiver here or maybe in the secondary somewhere. I love the upside of Byron Murphy. I think he's probably the best player available here. He goes here at 23. Pick number 24 for the Dallas Cowboys is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Unfortunately, as a Giants fan, I would hate to see this because Brian Thomas is a fantastic receiver, and putting him next to CeeDee Lamb is terrifying. He's 6'3" or whatever, runs probably a 4.35 40 speed out the ass. Like, and then you have CeeDee Lamb in the slot. It just wouldn't be fair because I think Michael Gallup is probably going to be gone. Jalen Tolbert, even though I like him, probably going to be easily replaced by Brian Thomas if this were to happen. And it would give Dak a lot more help on the outside. And I don't know how much Brandon Cooks has left in the tank. He looked great this year, but you never know. Pick number 25. This was a tough one. I ended up settling actually on another Senior Bowl standout, wherever I can find him. Darius Robinson out of Missouri. I do think he ends up in the first round, whether that's in the late first round, maybe he's early second. He really just impressed me. I know Joe Barry isn't there anymore, but last year they took a dude similar to him, in my opinion, in Lucas Van Ness. Just a big prospect, can play all over your D-line. Was a little bit like uncertain what he could do as a 3-down D lineman because we didn't see that at Iowa. Got to the NFL. Joe Barry was horrible at playing him, but when he did play, he disrupted the run, he disrupted the pass, and he's a similar build to a guy like Darius Robinson. Maybe not the athlete of Darius Robinson, but like they're both, I think, 6'5", around that 290 range, which is insane, by the way, for me calling them both crazy talent or athletes. Darius Robinson, though, really showed his length and the speed that he has around the edge at the Senior Bowl. I thought with Darius Robinson and Lucas Van Ness on like for sure passing downs, you can move them wherever you want across the D-line. It would be so hard to stop with Rashawn Gary on the outside. Maybe Preston Smith is still there. I doubt it, but we'll see. And I believe the new D coordinator they brought in was a 4-3, I think. So then that makes this even a little bit more sexy because you can have Lucas Van Ness, who's big enough to play at the D tackle spot in that 3 tech, and then you can put Darius Robinson out at the 5 tech. Am I using the right terminology here? I think it's a 5 tech, but you can have him standing up. You can have his hand in the dirt on the edge, going up against the tackle. You got Rashawn Gary coming like from the other side, or you can go Rashawn Gary and then Lucas Van Ness and Darius Robinson, maybe even standing up like Myles Garrett does on the interior with Preston Smith on the outside, and you can run stunts between Van Ness and Robinson, or Robinson and Preston Smith, or Robinson and Gary. You can run stunts from everywhere because he's got the power, he's got the length, he's got the hands to shock like guards and tackles, and he's got the speed and bend to get around. I think it's a pretty sexy pick, even though some may not think so or heard the name yet in the first round, but we'll see. I really like the fit, though. Pick number 26, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You might have a little PTSD from Washington edge rushers, but I'm going to go Braylon Trice here because I think it is a really good fit. And you need another edge rusher because Joe Tryon, Sharinka has not, it is Sharinka, right? Tryon Sharinka hasn't really worked out yet. Shaquille Barrett needs someone across from him, but they also just need pass rush in general. And Braylon Trice can give you that. He had the most pressures in all of college football last year with, I think, 76. I think that's right. So, and he had like 16 in one game against another first-round talent in Jordan Morgan. So, yeah, enough said. Pick number 27, the Arizona Cardinals. This is originally the Texans pick, I believe, right? Or no, is it the Detroit pick or the Texans? Oh, God, now I can't remember. It's someone's pick, regardless. We know that. And speaking of Jordan Morgan, that is where we're going to go. We're going to keep him in the state of Arizona. He's just going to have to move from Tucson to Phoenix. Pretty easy. I think protecting Kyler Murray is something that they need to establish and commit to. You got Paris Johnson, who was fantastic as a rookie. DJ Humphries might be a cap casualty along with the injuries. Jordan Morgan and Paris Johnson on as your two future tackles, your building blocks for the future. That is, it's not sexy by any means, but at the same time, it really is, because keeping Kyler Murray upright and be able to improvise and make plays as the playmaker that he is what you want to be able to do. You don't want him running for his life back there. He already had that knee injury. We don't need another one. So protect him. Give him time to throw down the field to, Rondale Moore, Marvin Harrison in this situation, Michael Wilson, and maybe Hollywood. Get him some help. That's all I'm saying. Definitely could have been defensive-minded pick here, but I think Jordan Morgan makes a lot of sense. At least offensive tackle here makes a lot of sense. Pick number 28 is going to be another tackle, because protect Josh Allen. And yes, this could be receiver. This could be a Keon Coleman. This could be a Troy Franklin. There's a ton of guys. A.D. Mitchell, Lad McConkey. There's a ton of guys you could have gone with. But I think protecting Josh Allen, we've kind of been over this for the past 3 years to protect him. And the Bills haven't really addressed it like a ton. They've addressed it, but not with, a first-round pick or a second-round pick or, some high-paid player in free agency or trading for someone. This is where you address it. Just a gigantic human being that you can put on the right or left side, probably the right to start, although Spencer Brown, that's kind of his spot, so maybe he is going to be at the left. Deion Dawkins is getting a little older, so maybe he can sit for a year and just learn. That would be fine as well. The injury is going to be a little bit of a concern, but I think he should be fine. Pick number 29 for the Detroit Lions. I just think they need secondary help. I think the second half of that 49ers game, you really saw that they need secondary help badly. I don't care about C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He got burned, all right? And plus, you just need guys out there. And Kamari Lassiter can be that guy. He was fantastic at Georgia, who had a great defense. Obviously, he had good players around him, so it makes him not better, but I guess it disguises his mistakes sometimes when you have such good players everywhere. But in his own right, he was CB1 over there. He was the guy. He was, on Luther Burden. He was on Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. He's a bigger, more physical corner, and I think that's what Dan Campbell's going to want, that physical guy who wants to press and jam receivers and really fight with them downfield. Pick number 30 is going to be another cornerback. I think they just need more depth at the position. The Ravens do, and it's going to be Ennis Rakestraw for me. He's shot up draft boards as well as some other guys, and I think the combine and his pro day will really help him and solidify. He's got great length and size. I think he's 6'1", maybe 6 foot. Could definitely bulk up a little bit. But him and Chris Abrams-Drain over there at Missouri were locked down this year. They were awesome to watch together. And I think you put him across from Marlon Humphrey, who can kind of play inside or out. Rakestraw can take over, say, for those outside receivers, because he's not going to play in the slot. He's just not. But when Marlon Humphrey travels into the slot, you got Rakestraw on the outside, who can take over and guard, whether it's the wide receiver 1 or 2 for the other team. So pick number 31 for the Super Bowl runner-ups yet again. The San Francisco 49ers. I am going to have them going Tyler Guyton here. I have been on the record for not being the biggest Tyler Guyton fan. I'm still not. However, I think Trent Williams and the 49ers O-line coach can definitely help develop this kid pretty quickly, along with a scheme that just helps out tackles in general with the outside zone running scheme. Obviously, Guyton, he flashed his potential at the Senior Bowl. I just don't like the consistency of the hand placement and letting guys do the inside pass rush moves. But I think that's something that can be worked on. And Trent Williams can help him with that, a former Oklahoma guy. Maybe he'll like that he's helping out his former school be really successful in the NFL. Yeah. I'm plus they just need O-line help, whether it's tackle, whether it's interior. I don't McKivitz is not the answer out there, or Aaron Banks or whatever it is. So get someone across from Trent Williams, help Brock Purdy stay up on his feet, make decisions, because maybe if they had a guy who actually blocked Chris Jones, they might have won the damn Super Bowl. So just saying. Pick number 32, final pick of the first round in this mock draft. It is going to be a receiver, and it is going to be Troy Franklin out of Oregon, who I don't know if I've actually had him in the first round yet. I think I have, but I'm not exactly sure. Um, I just think they need receiving help. Obviously, they got McCole Hardman in a trade this year, but outside of that, they started the year with a couple rookies in Rashee Rice. And I know they had Justin Ross. He's not a rookie, though, but they have a lot of young guys. I think they keep going in that route. Troy Franklin, a way different receiver than from what they have over there in Kansas City. He's, a bigger body receiver, but with a lot of speed, good route running, would fit perfectly across from Rashee Rice and takes off some pressure from Travis Kelce as well. I think the Chiefs are going to get some playmakers in a loaded receiver class. So it makes a lot of sense to me. But that will do it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know it got a little spicy, just a little bit, just a little spicy. I plan to get to make this one pretty crazy, but maybe we'll do that in the next one. I didn't go too crazy in this scenario, but yeah, I'll hint at my next mock draft and say it's gonna get a little spicy. I think a guy named JJ McCarthy might land where some people won't really expect him to. So be on the lookout for that one. Be on the lookout for my favorite sleepers in the draft later this week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment who you think your team should take. And I will see y'all in the next one. Take it easy and peace.